They say nothing good happens after 3 a.m. I never believed that until I picked up the phone. It was exactly 3:33 a.m. when my phone rang. The screen glowed in the dark, showing an unknown caller. I was half asleep, struggling to stay awake, but the persistent ringing wouldn't stop. I groggily reached for it, my fingers stiff and clumsy. I was too tired to think, too tired to care. Half-heartedly, I ignored it. Another spam call, I figured, but it rang again and again. Something about it felt wrong, unnatural. The silence between each ring stretched on, deeper than usual. My stomach churned with unease. Finally, I answered, bringing the phone to my ear, but there was no voice, just shallow, ragged breathing. It felt like someone was standing just beyond my sight, waiting for me to hear them. Then, I heard it. "Help me, please, help me." The voice was strained, terrified, familiar, too familiar. A chill ran down my spine and my heart skipped. I pulled the phone away from my ear, staring at the screen. The number was still listed as unknown. My pulse raced as I wondered who could be playing such a cruel prank. But this didn't feel like a prank. I checked my apartment. The door was locked. The windows were shut. I even checked the bathroom just in case. But everything felt off. There was an eerie stillness in the air, as if something invisible was watching me. Something that didn't belong. I checked my call log, hoping to find some explanation. There was nothing, no record of the call. It was like it had never happened. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. I sat down on the couch, trying to calm myself, but then my phone buzzed again. I jumped. It was exactly 3:33 a.m. the next night. Another unknown caller. I hesitated but answered, feeling a strange pull to do so. The moment I did, my own voice came through the phone, shaky and desperate. "Don't answer. Don't let it in." The line went dead before I could say anything. My heart hammered in my chest, and I stood up, pacing back and forth. The room felt colder. The walls seemed to close in around me. I glanced at the clock. It was 3:34 a.m. Just a minute had passed since the call ended, but it felt like hours. A sudden knock at the door jolted me back to reality. Slow, deliberate. 3 knocks. I froze. My mind raced, trying to make sense of what was happening. It couldn't be real. It just couldn't. I checked my phone again. Another message. "Let me in." I stumbled backward, my body tense with fear. The phone buzzed in my hand, and I reluctantly picked it up. Unknown caller. I didn't answer. I couldn't. The knock came again, louder this time. 3 more knocks. My heartbeat thundered in my chest. I backed away from the door, my feet unsteady beneath me. I checked my reflection in the window. I could see myself standing in the dim light of the living room, my face pale and wide-eyed with terror. But as I stared, something changed. My reflection smiled. It wasn't my smile. I didn't move, but the reflection's hand lifted and it waved. I froze in place. The phone buzzed again. Unknown caller. My fingers shook as I stared at the screen. This time, I didn't answer. I couldn't look away from the reflection. It smiled wider now, its eyes glinting with something sinister. I glanced at the door. Still no sound. The room felt too quiet, too still. My phone rang again, and I couldn't stop myself from answering. The call connected, and the line crackled. The voice on the other end was mine, but distorted, wrong. "Let me in," it whispered. I dropped the phone in horror. I stumbled backward, my legs giving out beneath me. The reflection in the window was no longer just a reflection. It was real. The door rattled, the sound of someone, or something, pounding from the other side. I couldn't tell if it was the door, the walls, or the air itself shaking with the force of it. The reflection in the window stepped closer, its hand pressed against the glass. I couldn't look away, couldn't move. Then the phone screen went black. The ringing stopped, but I could still hear it. A faint sound, like someone breathing. I reached for the phone again, my hand trembling. Unknown caller flashed on the screen. I answered, and I heard my voice. My voice, but not mine. It laughed softly, a low, chilling sound. The last thing I remember is my reflection grinning at me from the window, and my own voice saying, "You answered."